The qualities, we kind of know. I mean, we kind of know what makes a good teacher. The research on teaching effectiveness and student satisfaction typically says that there are two primary qualities or characteristics that lead to student success and student satisfaction in the classroom. And you would think like the number one would always be like content knowledge. Does the instructor, do they know what they're talking about in the class? So I'm teaching a criminal justice class. Do I know my stuff? And that is important. And students do report that as being, you have to have content mastery as the educator in the classroom. However, what seems to be more important than that from a student's perspective is enthusiasm and passion for engaging with and connecting with students. These students come in, most of them 18 to 22 years old. They're just starting their lives. They're trying to embrace a new role of adulthood, and they're going to bring a lot of baggage with them sometimes. And so one of the biggest challenges that we face is how, as faculty members, how can we sit down with each individual student and give them the unique attention and support that they need? It does take a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of emotional energy. On the other hand, that's the joy. That's the joy of knowing that it's not just what happens in the classrooms. It's what we do to support students outside the classrooms that truly helps them be successful and makes them feel welcome and makes them feel safe to reach their potential in our classrooms. One of the biggest challenges to staying motivated is understanding what our mission is, understanding what our purpose is. And I think that far too often educators can they can lose sight of why we're here and what we're trying to accomplish. And so I think one of the primary ways that I try to stay motivated is every day. When I get up, I try to remind myself, what's my purpose? What am I trying to accomplish? What are my long-term goals in terms of helping students achieve their career and lifelong goals? I grew up in the Terminator generation, where AI, gains sentience and then, decides to wipe out humanity. And I do appreciate that there are challenges to AI, and that not everything that's coming out of technology is necessarily, beneficial to humanity. But that's why it's important for us to get on the front end of that and to learn about that. So one of the things I've been doing is just, honestly, just playing around with it. One of the things that I do in my classes, and I just kind of experiment with things like this to kind of see how they go, and then I ask students feedback on it. But one of the things I've used AI for in my classes is to develop scenario-based training, where you can give the AI a prompt to come up with maybe a hostage scenario, or you can come up with a prompt of interviewing a suspect or interviewing a complainant or a victim in a crime, and helping students develop those skills as the AI plays the role of the victim or the AI plays the role of the hostage taker. From what I've learned so far, from my experiences so far, and based on my professional experience working in this field, it's been pretty accurate in terms of how these scenarios are created by the AI. I'm really looking forward to seeing additionally how it can contribute to student learning, and not just scenario based, but in terms of helping to put together assignments, helping to organize their ideas, helping to do research. I also think that maybe one of the biggest things that comes out of the advent of AI is it's forcing us in a culture and a climate that doesn't always appreciate or respect the facts, evidence, the truth, the scientific method, that AI is forcing us to ask some hard questions about, how do we check our sources, and how do we know if you put a prompt into AI, how do you know that what AI is giving you back is actually factually accurate? So I do think it's a really good opportunity for us to not only use AI to enhance our classroom learning, but also to use it as a cautionary tale of why students should develop their critical thinking skills and their ability to fact check and check their sources. Because of our wonderful, staff and administrators at the library, we've not only been encouraged to adopt open educational resources, we've been given the support and resources that we need to do that. And so we applied, the criminal justice program applied for a grant to develop the open educational resources that we have and that we're using currently. It's really a great opportunity for us to really two things. Number one, customize our course content for our students, because the open educational resources we've been using have been introductory textbooks that we can edit. And so not only can we go in there and revise things according to how we want to teach the course, in criminal justice especially, it's really important for us to be able to stay current and stay on top of things. So if an event happens in real time in the real world, we can immediately go into our textbook and revise it and add videos, add news clips, add assignments like that. It's really revolutionizing the way that we can update course material on the fly through our textbooks. Maybe most importantly, however, is the cost point, is that we're trying to make a concerted effort to bring down costs for our students. We know that that's a struggle for everybody. Any little bit we can do helps, and we've actually surveyed students about this. We did a little survey as part of the grant, and what we found from students is that, believe it or not, they really appreciate us being considerate of their financial situations and trying to make things a little bit less expensive for them. And they also reported that they enjoyed the textbook, so it's win-win for both of us. I'm Dr. Cary Adkinson, Associate Professor of Criminal Justice, and I'd just like to share with you a reminder that with great power must also come great responsibility.